Okay. It's been a long week. Hope you're doing well today. It's been a nightmare for me because I had a laptop that it's gone completely, and I have to buy a new one straight away. And it looks like it's impossible to get a new laptop from Apple within 10 days, like custom built, not the basic one. But yeah, it's been a nightmare. So I just back on my live streaming now, and welcome back. So today I'm going to I'm not gonna make this track. I mean, this track is done. It's been done almost a year ago or so. I think even longer. What I want to do today is, because a lot of you guys ask me to see the boring stuff, I'm gonna show you the boring stuff today. And especially for this one, this is a fully digital track, so no hardware involved, nothing, just a laptop, headphones, and me on a plane. I made this track on the plane and possibly finished when I reached the hotel, and then I made the master when I was back in the studio. So there's no fancy stuff going on, there's nothing here on the mixer or on the outboards, it's all digital. It's been made with one laptop and few software synths. That's it. But I'm going to show you what I've used to make this song. So, before you ask, these are the headphones that I used. Okay, I have no deal with the guys, nothing to do, but a lot of you are going to complain about this Beats Pro, and whatever you say, it's fine. I know you're gonna be blah 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 now, but it works for me. You can use whatever works for you. I can get pretty close to a nice mixing with that, and it's just me. And then when I go back in the studio, I just need to adjust some, not too much on the level things, but more on the EQ and compression and stuff. But anyway, first thing I want to do is I'm gonna play the full track, because as I said before, the track, it's been done more than a year ago. So I'm gonna play the full track first, and then I'm gonna show you track by track what I've exactly used. So if you are into the production things, it's gonna be interesting. If you're just looking for the music, kind of boring today, but hey, this is what you've been asking me, so I'm gonna do that. Ready? From start till the end.
Fabio Taviani Studio.
Well, that's it. That was the full track. It's called Operator. And if you just tuned in, as I said before, this is a fully digital track. There is no hardware used here. It's been made on my laptop on a plane and then finished that in my hotel room more than a year ago, something. And then I obviously finalized the track here in the studio. So actually the only piece of hardware that I've got into this track is the organ. So I'm gonna show you straight away. So we just take this one down. And the organ, I mean this one. Let me show you this sample. Okay, and that thing comes from this keyboard. that's the only thing I've used from that keyboard, just because I like the organ, and that's it. You can possibly find the same sound anywhere with any software. I just, I know that one, and I use that one. And MIDI recorded into Cubase and then sampled like this. Some EQ on it. Very little thing. And that's it. Now the other, let me switch to this. Is it right? Yeah. Okay, the other thing I want to show you here, you will never notice this unless I point this out. Let's have a listen to this part. Okay. Oh well, actually, let me just go back a second. Back to the organ thing. This one. So this part, it's been inspired from one of my favorite artists, and I'm gonna show you who I'm talking about and which part I'm talking about. This guy. Well, you know him, and I would just listen back to this song, and I think you can hear the inspiration for that organ thing. Yeah. Inspired from this one. Where's Cubase? So just so you know the story behind the little organ sample. Okay, back to the other interesting sound. I was talking about this part. Have a listen to this. I think you saw on my browser before. What was it? Anyway, I'm gonna solo this part and let you hear it. Okay, so for this sound, I've got some sound shifter which I use to transpose the key of the audio sample, and then I use some delay and reverb, and that's it. And I think you guess where the original sound comes from, and there you go. It's this one, guys.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
Okay. So this is the original sound from Windows 98. I hate that. Anyway. And then I pitch it up. Let me see if I turn this one off. Yeah, I pitched it up and stretched the sample, and then add some effect, and that's what you have. I mean, the track could be perfectly fine without that. I just wanted to use it. I don't even know why, but I like it. Okay, so let's walk through this track. As always, we start with a kick drum, and because I don't even remember what I've used. I mean, as I said before, it's been more than a year ago, so let's walk through and see. Okay, for kick drums, I usually have my battery sample. So I just put a sample here. This kick drum comes from a pretty famous sample pack. Normally I use the compressor here on battery because it gives a little bit of a punch to the highest part of the kick drum, and I like it. Alright, then the first thing I do when I use the kick drum thing, oh, let me see if the streaming is still on, because, oh yeah, okay, works. So the first thing I do is adding this low band from waves just to cut, to cut off anything below 30, basically. So any frequency down which you don't really need it because you don't hear it, it's gonna be cut off from this guy. Then the kick drum for me has to be mono, absolutely mono. So I use this plugin here. As you can see, this is the when you open it, it looks like this. It's still stereo, but I bring this thing down and then it goes back to mono. So just making sure, samples are weird. Sometimes you get a wide stereo wide kind of a kick drum. I don't like it. Has to be in the middle. So I use this one to make sure everything is mono, and then I use the fab filter just to do some. This one is called Simplon. I still need to buy it actually. This is the demo. Sounds good. I just use this one, but I prefer other. Filters like this one, for example, one knob. This has got a nice resonance when you bring it down, or for the other one is, oh boy, or some other time I used the Sonalkis for the high pass filter, and this one it's really good. Anyway, in this case I use the other one. Right, so and then we go to the main bass line. Let's say the main bass line comes from Spire, of course, because when I have to go very quick, I need something that sounds good and quick. So as I said before, I think I made this track in like 5 hours or something, like a flight and some more hotel room time. But yeah, let's go back here. So yeah, the bass comes from Spire, and let's see, have a bunch of stuff here. So let's turn everything off. This is the original sound. First thing, I used Fab Filter Saturn to what I've done here. So, well, basically some distortion. Okay, I think you feel it. And then, because we want more distortion, I used Isotope Trash 2. Let me show you what it does. I mean, if you're watching this from your phone, I don't think it's gonna work. You gotta listen by, well, it works if you have your earplugs. Otherwise, you can't hear the difference. Anyway, this gives a little bit more high distortion, a bit more on the high frequencies. And then again, I had the filter, the Simplon. There you go. The Sonakis filter again. This thing. the low band again, because it's a bass sound, so also here want to make sure it doesn't go below 30 hertz. So just making sure you don't get extra frequencies. And then I use the again the Fab Filter Pro C2. This is a sidechain. Yeah, sorry, I've got into the sidechain. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the main bass line. Then I have another bass. It's called click bass. I don't even know why. Let's see. Okay. This one comes from Spire, of course. Let's see what I had. I had on this channel original sound. It's like this. Let me look this right here.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
The Pro C is again for the side chain. The Pro Q is adding some, what is it, like 5 kilohertz. And then this one I used the S1 to make it a little bit wider. It's a stereo enhancer, as bringing things to mono, as I've done before. Okay, so original sound. Actually, with the EQ off. And this is the final sound. And together with the kick and the bass, it sounds like this. Okay, adding to this bass, I've got what I have, Stab FX. What's this? Okay, let's see what it is. Spire again. I guess it's all about Spire on this project. Okay, still the sound. So I basically have some stereo enhancer. I think, no, I didn't even touch it. Oh yeah, okay, I just changed the phase of both channels. As you can see, these two things are red. Just changed the phase, possibly because it sounds better in this case. I don't remember why I did it, but if I did it, because it makes sense in my world. Saturn, again, for some distortion. Okay, filter again. This kickstart. Well, this is just a LFO. It's like for the sidechain basically, but I don't use it as a sidechain every single time. I prefer to use a real sidechain with a compressor, as I've done before. But sometimes I need a very precise and quick sidechain, and I use this guy here. Or some other times I use the LFO tool, this one here. They both do things pretty much the same thing. You can design this LFO. The other one you just can select, the presets, and that's it. Anyway, let me take this one out. and together it sounds like this. Alright, so far so good. So we've got the kick drum done, all the bass. Let's see if I have something else. Okay, fine. Let's move to the acid line. Let's see what is the acid line. Alright, okay, actually I remember I used this sound for a previous track called Musica from 3 years ago. Just if you wonder where I got this sound. Again, Spire, and I love this one. You see me playing it with this guy every single time. Okay, and then I have a compressor, this one. I think the Renaissance compressor, it's supposed to be a guitar compressor. This is what I've heard or read somewhere. I just like it on every single sound because it makes everything smoother and a bit more present. I don't know, I like it. And it's very simple, you just drag down the threshold and that's it. Plus a sidechain. And let's play this together. Alright, so far so good. Let's move to another sound. Pluck flanger. Let's see what it is. Okay, we're going into the synth part now. Let me see if I have any other bass thing going on. No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, main bass, click bass. Stop effect, we saw this before. Low kick drum is just a... Yeah, just a low kick drum. We got all the drum section here. Okay, let's move on to the... Okay, let's move on to the drums. I mean, who cares? What I usually do, I put all my drums together and then I group them into one single channel, into one group. In this case, I didn't have to add anything to the group, but you know, it's just making things... if you need to add, say, a filter on the main bus of the drums, you can by grouping things together. So usually my grooves are pretty simple. I don't use many layers. It's just the basic stuff. So in this case, I have a closed hat loop. What is it? Oh, there we go. And then I have some loop taken from some sample. I'm not gonna mention all the, the sample packs because it's like my secret weapon. Then I add snare. Then I have another drum loop.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
Open hat. Pretty much classic 909. The ride. The ride is so important to me. I don't know how to explain this, but it makes the air of the tracks, like it, you know, enhances the very high hands when the track is full and you hear this little ride, you know, getting in. It makes everything a little bit brighter, a bit more exciting. Don't really know how to explain. I think it's just a feeling, but anyway, ride is an instrument that I always use, always. On the ride, I usually put a LFO. Otherwise, it sounds like this. I like this way better. So, open hat. On the drum loop, I've got again an LFO. I've got, sorry, if I play music and I talk, you don't hear me. So I have another LFO on the drum loop again. It makes a big difference because I don't want to use the snare from the loop. I want to use a different snare, so I need to cut it. And I can do this with the LFO. Nothing here, nothing here. Easy stuff. Okay, all together. Cool. Bassline. We've done this before. Okay, let's move to the synth line leads and plucks and stuff. Let's see what we have. Right, so I was playing this one before. I think I showed you this plugin here some time ago as well. It's it's called Fatter. It's a saturation plugin. It makes everything sounding a little bit more warmth, and I usually use when I find the sound coming from the plugin a little bit too thin, a bit too fake. So this makes it a little bit better, at least, if I don't use my hardware, you know. So without. So I'm not sure if you can hear the difference, but there is a huge difference. I can tell. Okay. Let's see. Okay, going together with this sound here, I have this one. Spire. Okay. Okay, before we go ahead, there is a little voice chopped going on here, which is this one. Okay, this one it's being made from it's. Hey, come on. Okay, I got the sound from Omnisphere. Right, this is the original sound without any effect. I've added a ping pong delay. This is just hold on. Okay, now you can see it. So I've just added a ping pong delay. As you can see, this is just a gain control. Means more volume or less volume on this channel. It doesn't, you know, that's it. It's a very simple tool. Auto pan, so it goes left and right. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, to do the chop thing, I use another plugin which I like and I'm testing. It's called Volcano, and it does this.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
Okay, and then again some EQ, because it's got some low end going on, so I had to cut down everything here. Right, you can see it. And then some gain control again. Yeah, 3 dB 90, and then LFO. And this is the other one I was talking about before. Anyway. Okay, so in this part, I have a synth loop going on. There's not much here, just a filtering and reverb. And this is the synth loop I've used. And then at some point it changes to this. Okay, let me show you this one now. So this organ kind of sound comes from Omnisphere. It's not the same thing as this one. It's a different type of organ, but I liked to use this one for this part, and goes like this. And it follows the synth loop. This one. And then the big change here. Okay, together with this, I have the lead going on. Okay, at this point I have, well, this is just all the build up. If you want, I can play it. Now, if you noticed, I'm using another kind of a voice loop, and it's this one. Let me play it for you. I have no idea what it says. I really don't know, but I like it. You know, sounds good to me. On the drop, I have this fill, for example. You know, some snare roll, nothing. Some white noise going on. Uplifting effects. I mean, this part on top here, it's all about the effects. You know, like uplifter, downlifter, whatever. You know, bangs, crash, and snare rolls. This is the gray part here. What else? What else? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, there's no there's not much more to say. I think I showed you everything. As I said before, this is all the effects. I mean, if you you don't want to go through the effects of the snare roll, whatever. It's just you know, the usual stuff. You know, from all the effects, the only interesting one to me is the Windows 98 Beta 3 sound.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
And yeah, and that's it basically. So this is how, you know, how I made the song. Very simple one, just, you know, the intro, like here, the intro, the usual DJ mixing part from 1 to 33 bars. Then you have the build up. Then you have the first breakdown here. And then you have the first drop right here. Then it goes hard for a little bit. And then it comes to the second drop, second breakdown. And the second drop, of course, with the pum 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 kick drum. And then to the outro. It's a 6 minutes 15 seconds length. I mean, this is perfect for my set because I always consider 5 minutes per track. So if I play 1 hour, I know I can play with, you know, I can play 12 tracks basically. Sometimes I play more, sometimes I play less, because you know, whenever I go into my live thing, I just keep going and forget about the timing. But especially when you play festivals and you have to play 1 hour, you really need to think about, you know, get the right time. You don't wanna end too early, you don't want to end too late, because then they have to, you know, cut your song in half at the very end, so you don't want that. And then, so I try to keep my tracks to 6 minutes 30 seconds usually, because that gives me like a proper 5 minutes music per track. And that's, you know, this is what it works better for me. Okay, so, you know, once this song has been done, once the track has been done like this, you know, I come back to the studio and then I make the master. So the way I can actually show you this. The way I make my master is I have 16 different outputs on my sound card. So which is like 8 bus stereo. So I split the sounds, the main sounds, to these 8 buses, and let me show you how I do this. Back to the project. Okay, on Cubase you get the Windows, what is it? Okay, audio connections. Right, as you can see, this is my output. I have 16 outputs, which means 8 bus stereo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What I do, actually what I've done here already, is the kick drum goes to bus 8. So on that bus you only have the kick drum. For example, the bass goes into 7. stereo bus 7, and then the drums go to bus 3, and so on. You know, the lead goes to bus 2, I guess. Let me see. What is it? This one goes into, no, it goes into the group called lead, which this one. Stereo output, which is bus 1. More sounds like the bassline goes to stereo output. The plug goes to stereo output. I think I forgot to do this. So okay, anyway, the lead should go to, oh, this one. Nah, this one should go to output 2, to be honest. As well as the synth loop 2, synth loop goes to 5. Okay, then the synth loop 2 goes to 5 as well. Anyway, I think I made some mistake here, but anyway, the way I do is just splitting the main sounds into different buses, so they can actually breathe on the mixer. And when I say mixer, I'm not talking about this, because this is a good mixer. It's a very old school mixer. I like it. I love the EQs here on the board, and this is where all my keyboards and you know, and outboards are connected to. So you know, whenever I need to record some piece of hardware, it goes via MIDI into this mixer, into my computer. But when I do the master, the all the different outputs of my Cubase project go into which camera is it? Maybe now you can see it. Yeah. Everything goes into this. This is a how is that called? A summing box. It's basically a mixer. It's actually it's a mixer. It's a very high quality mixer. You don't have EQs, you don't have filter, you don't have faders or a volume control. Anything is just a mixer. So it puts all these different 8 buses into left and right, and that's it. So all my project goes into this mixer here, which does the sum. The output of this mixer goes into my API compressor. It's a bus compressor, but this is what gives the real punch to my tracks. It's a very how can I explain? I think this one has been made for drums only, and I use it as a bus compressor because it's so aggressive. So you can either enhance your track, make it very punchy, or you can destroy your track if you don't go easy with it. I usually go easy with this, so I have my favorite settings depending by the BPM of the track, but you know, this is what gives the Giuseppe Ottaviani sound, if you know what I mean. So after this one, the output goes into my limiter. This is the Waves L2. It's a very old one, but I like it so much. And to give some, I don't go hard with this as well. It gives just a little bit of a limiting to the thing. And then from the limiter, we go back into my sound card. From the sound card, you know, back into the project. So what I do is just, let me show you here. What I do is just adding one more track, which I call mix down. And the input should be these 3 and 4. Okay, this is where input 2.
Live from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
From the L2 limiter. So what I do, I just play back the track and record it like this. Okay, so this is, you know, how I record my track in real time. So the track goes into the semi box, into the compressor, into the limiter, back to my DAW, and record it in real time. And then on this channel which I have the you know, the final, it's the final mix down, but need to be say need to be pushed a little bit harder, then let me see if I can let me just, you know what, let me just record the main part so you get a better idea. Okay, I just realized that the settings on my compressor and limiter are totally wrong, so this is not the way I do, but you know, it's just to demonstrate what's the routing of my thing. It's not, I'm not gonna make the master like this, but just to, you know, just to explain to you how it works. Anyway, let's say, you know, this is the right thing, and this is the mix down I have. So what I do, I take the loudest part of the song, which is, you know, normally this one, loop it. I turn on this guy. It's already been, as I said before, it's already been compressed and it's already been limited, but in the analog world. So I need to make sure in the digital world, it's gonna be perfect. So what I do again, because all, you know, anything can go, how to explain this? You know, you can grab frequencies when you go out the computer. So just to make sure we don't get anything below 30 Hertz, again, I use this one. Then normally I have an EQ, Pro Q3, this one, where I have my setting for the master, and that means I'm splitting the bands. So for example, this one here, it's been split as a mid and side. So this is the side thing, and I need to make sure the side I'm not going, you know, below 100, even 150. This is the mid, which is, you know, it's fine like this. So if I need some more punch on the bass, I bring it up this part here around 60 Hertz, something like that. If I need some more low end, I bring out the 40 Hertz right here. If I need to make it a bit more present, I enhance the mid around the 1K. You can go for a broader like a, you know, bell like this. If you need to enhance the high, you can bring it up. And anyway, this is the kind of EQ I usually use on my master. After this, let's say if you want to add some more stereo, or it's a bit too much wide, you want to bring it back to a little bit more to the center, I use the imager from Isotope, this one. And usually whatever happens below 140 Hertz, I don't really care, because it has to be mono for me anyway. If I need a little bit more wide, if I need the track to be a little bit more wider, I bring up a couple of points, this, which is, you know, the band between 141 and 2K. I don't go crazy with the heights, and just give a little bit. And this is, you know, as far as I go. And you can see it from the graphic. You don't want to go super wide like this, okay? Because this way sounds great in the studio, but it sounds horrible anywhere else, especially in the club. So don't go crazy with this guy. Okay, and after that, I add some more digital limiter, which is really important because you want to make sure it doesn't go, you know, crazy on the digital world, in the digital world. So I use the Pro L. Yes, I'm a big fan of Fab Filter. This is the Pro L2. I usually go for transparent. I turn the true peak limiting off because then I'm gonna show you what I'm using to do the true peak limiting. And bring it up the volume. So this is already, it's already quite loud for me. I don't go like brick wall. I don't want to squash the track. I just want to leave some dynamic to it. So I don't go hard on the limiting because my tracks may sound a little bit lower in volume if you compare to other tracks that you find on Beatport or whatever. You know, there are some tracks that are just a, you know, brick, a thing. Like a black solstice, and that's not the way I like it. It has to be dynamic. So I know that we need you know, the apparent volume to be a bit louder, but you know, I don't like to destroy my track. Like, you work so hard in the studio and then with just one plugin, with one limiter, because you want it louder, you basically destroyed all you've done so far. So I don't want that, and I go easy with the limiting. So this is, as I'm showing here, it's already quite too loud. You know, again, if you need more volume, just turn it up the volume on your speakers, or you can feel the difference in the club. You know, when I play my tracks, yeah, I need to turn up the volume a little bit compared to the other DJs, but it's way more punchy. You get like you can feel the bass in your stomach. It's a different thing, and that's the way I like better. Anyway, limiting here, going easy with the transparent thing. So it's not like a perfectly precise, but it gives a little bit of a limiting. I go for our sampling, 8 per. It's even, you know, it's already great. For the true peak limiting, I'm using the vintage limiter from Isotope. And also here I have my master preset. So I go a minus 0.2 dB on as a ceiling on the main output. I use the modern algorithm, which is a little bit quicker, and it's great for this kind of music. And this doesn't do much. It doesn't go crazy on limiting. It just makes sure, you know, the real peak doesn't go up, you know, above the 0.2 dB, the minus 0.2 dB. So I make sure my master it's not clipping anywhere. And after that, because the project is 24-bit, yes, 44.1 kilohertz, 24 bits, I need to bring it down to 16 bits UV. And I use this built-in from Cubase Apogee UV 22 16 bits, and that's how I export my masters. All right. Right. Also the loudness, you don't want to go below 8. It's you know, 8 LUFS. It's already a lot, so loud. And when I make the radio version, which is actually the Spotify version, I bring the level down even more. Well, I think that's it. You know, no secrets in my studio. You just see what happens. And I think I showed you everything. There's not much to say. There's not much more to show. The only thing I can do now, because I guess some one of you guys tuned in a little bit later, I can replay the song pretty much from start to the end, and then I say goodbye. Okay, let's do this.
from Giuseppe Ottaviani Studio.
All right, that's it. So, track done. It's called Operator. Again, it's gonna be part of my new album Evolver. Trying to release it on July 12th. I still need to work on many tracks, but I'll be streaming, as much as I can on the other tracks. Possibly the next stream is gonna be in just a few days because I was working on another one. I'm not gonna tell you the title now, but I'll let you know by my social media. So that was in the making. I need to just to add more sound. So I will show you as I've done before with the other streamings. Well, it's a different track. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. It works great on the dance floors, and it's gonna be my main weapon for summer festivals, which is great. What else? Don't know. Well, just gonna read your messages as soon as the streaming is done, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and good evening or good morning, depends where you're watching this from. All right, thank you, bye, see you.